You guys want to go for a walk outside? Okay, let's go.
So I was thinking the other day about the history of smartphones. I mean, the amount of times that I tap into, say, the Twitter app or the YouTube app is at least 8 or 9 times the amount that I fire up the phone call app. That struck me as a little weird, seeing as up until about a decade or so ago, the only purpose of a phone was to call. I mean, according to my stepfather, even just a few years ago, the only purpose for a phone was for me to keep in communication with my parents and vice versa. Nothing else. And yet here we are, social media galore, a new hit app every week, and a new smartphone every few months. It's crazy to think that we've moved so far away from the original purpose of the phone in such a short time. Or have we? The more I thought about it, the more I came to the conclusion that we really haven't strayed all that far from the original function of the phone, even though they do seem quite different. Alright, shifting gears a bit. We communicate to express ideas, to make ourselves known. I believe this is one of the most basic human desires that we all kind of share, just to make ourselves known, to be acknowledged. Now, the most common way we do this is through talking, like right now. But talking is not perfect. It can be a little clumsy, and it has some pretty significant pitfalls. One of those being long distance. Like right now, you can hear me well, but if I was just a little bit farther back, you wouldn't be able to hear me at all. Now, many things were invented to overcome this pitfall of speech, such as like messengers or letters, the telegraph, and even the telephone. They were all used to overcome speech's weakness, because speech is kind of clumsy. Now, that doesn't really prove my point as to how the telephone does the exact same thing as modern day smartphones, but don't worry, I'm getting there.
Oh.
So if we think back to my original thought about how smartphones have changed so much from their original purpose, even in just a short amount of time, I don't think that's the case. I think they're doing the same thing as they always have been, even since the first phone was made in the 1870s. Now, I'm not saying that Alexander Graham Bell was updating his relationship status on the original telephone, and sharing photos back then was a completely different thing. What I am saying is that these mediums that we use, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, they are all just a new way to do the same thing that we've been doing for years. The thing that the original telephone and smartphones have been doing that are the same is communicating. But more than just that, they've been expressing our ideas in ways that talking can't. Because talking is great for this, but it's a little clumsy for long distance, or now with Instagram and stuff, describing scenes and food and facial expressions. That can all be done with a phone camera much better than it can through talking. The original purpose of a phone was to overcome talking's clumsiness, and smartphones are still doing that really well today. I don't think the purpose of phones have changed. I think their design has. It's almost as if there's a new fresh coat of paint over expressing ideas in ways that talking can't do well.